At this moment, I should probably invite to the stage both Sarah Louise and James Wright of Jude's Ice Cream. So why don't you come to the stage? Thank you so much.
Good evening, everybody. You're a bit of a tough crowd this evening. I'm a bit disappointed, to be honest. So James and I are going to work through a few quick fire questions to hopefully get you a bit more warmed up.
Can I also just say, I'm sorry it's not real ice cream, it's milkshakes. And also, Gordon, you said that one of your favourite ice creams was Jude's. Yeah, that's it. That's good. Good. Sorry, it was bugging me.
So we're going to learn the story of Jude's Ice Cream this evening. Before we get into that, I think it would be more interesting to learn a little bit more about you. You ready?
Great.
Okay, so what's been your best adventure so far?
I think it has to be Jude's.
Jude's, okay.
Jude's,
cool.
yeah.
That was easy. If you could choose to do anything for one day, what would it be?
It would be hang out with my family. I've got 4 children, aged 4 to 10, and it's lots of fun.
Wow. What's your favourite Jude's ice cream flavour?
Difficult question. So now we've just launched a triple chocolate ice cream stick, and it's amazing.
Great. Loving hearing those cans opening. That's amazing. Okay, final question. Do you have a favourite child?
No.
Okay, correct answer. Well done. Can you give us the skinny on Jude's? So Jude's recently this year actually celebrated its 20th anniversary. Tell us a little bit how the company got started and the trajectory so far.
Yeah, thanks, SL. So we started 20 years ago, and I think the first thing to say is what we do is we make unbelievably delicious ice cream.
True.
And I hope you've all tried it, and if not, please do. We've won over 100 Great Taste Awards. You know, that's what we do, but why we do what we do is so much more important. So we are a purpose-driven business. So we passionately believe that businesses can and should be forces for good, that businesses are a vehicle for change. And we're a certified B Corp, and I think the way we describe it is our purpose is to bring life to people and planet. And for people, the most important thing for us at Jude's is that everyone feels valued, appreciated, and enjoys coming to work. If we can get that right, that is our number one. And the way we describe that and talk about that internally is the idea of servant leadership. So it's things like the characteristics that we want to foster and encourage and champion are things like being forgiving, being kind, being truthful.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's the most important thing at Jude's, the people side. And then the other side on the planet and what we actually do in the products.
We're going to get into that a wee bit later. Yeah, cool. So as you have said, Jude's has won over 100 Great Taste Awards. There's got to be something in how it's made. Obviously, you can't give us a secret recipe, but tell us a little bit about what makes it a bit different. And also, maybe more importantly, why did it get going in the first place? Because I think the founder origin story is quite interesting for people.
Yeah, so 20 years ago, Jude's husband retired, and he lived on an old dairy farm just outside Winchester. And he thought he wanted to do something. He thought cheese or ice cream. And he thought ice cream sounded a bit more fun. So he brought a very small ice cream machine, started tinker away in a barn, and then walked across the field to the local pub, knocked on the door and said, "What do you think of this?" And that's how we started. So we started supplying little pubs, then came up here to London, and then gradually have grown from there.
And where can anyone find you if they haven't already known that you exist? Where can we buy Jude's?
So you can buy us in most supermarkets. You can buy us in, or if you're going to pubs, hotels, restaurants. But if Tesco, Sainsbury, Ocado, Waitrose.
And I think it's really easy. You're 20 years into your story. It's really easy to talk about success, and you've done really well over a really sustained long period of time, and you've done things quite differently, which starting out 20 years ago was probably quite a statement to make. For founders that we've known and loved, we've worked with nearly 60 of them now over the course of the past almost 5 years. It's not always plain sailing. And so it's easy to romanticize business as a force for good and a force of nature, which of course it is. But there are also tricky times as well. So are you willing to share what any of those have been and maybe what you've learned as a consequence?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from our experience, business is up and down the whole time. But for us, what's been most important is the idea that we are purpose-driven, that we're here to bring life to people and planet. And so for us, recently, COVID, like for everyone, was a really hard time. We lost half the business overnight. Total uncertainty. And I think what sort of gets us through that and got us through it was we're very clear on the vision of where we want to go. That purpose. We know why we're doing what we're doing. And then working collaboratively with an amazing team, which goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. It's all about people.
Yeah.
And that gives the agility and the ability to respond to situations. And that helps you when it's tough and when it's really great. So I think always reminding ourselves why you're doing what you're doing. Persevering, keeping on going.
And through that particularly tricky time during COVID, were there any opportunities that came out of that were maybe a little unexpected?
Yeah, well, I think for us, one really amazing part of COVID was that's when we decided to reduce our carbon intensity by 43%. So I think it ties into our purpose. So for us, it was peak uncertainty. And I think we've always said that we always want the courage to make the difficult decisions when they matter most. And we'd started a project about 3 years ago of really trying to understand the environment and sustainability. And we've always been a sustainable business, but really understand it more. And we realized that we needed to do something more meaningful immediately. And so in the middle of COVID, when it was peak uncertainty, we committed to a whole load of things, which for us at the time was, it was a big deal.
Talk us through that whole load of things. What does that mean?
So we've committed to reducing carbon intensity by 43%. So essentially, we're trying to totally rethink what good ice cream looks like. We're trying to make it much more sustainable. So last year alone, we reduced our carbon intensity by 20%, so half our target for 2030. And we've done that by, essentially, we're big believers in incremental change. Lots of little things in isolation, you add them up and makes a big change. And for us, for making great ice cream, everything is all about the details. Lots of little things, you add them together, it makes a difference. So we've got this target. Our main goal is reducing carbon intensity, but we also offsets 110% of our scopes 1 to 3 emissions. So that's basically all your emissions from the farm essentially to the shelf. So absolutely everything. And there are other things we do as well, but the whole idea for us.
What has had to change in the process of making the ice cream to allow that to happen?
So we are totally rethinking what good ice cream looks like, and a big one for us is plant-based ice cream.
Okay.
So we're really trying to give consumers and everyone the choice of a whole new range of ice cream. And the reason we want to introduce plant-based ice cream is that our plant-based ice cream is about 40% less carbon than our dairy ice cream and uses almost 80% less land. So those stats are amazing. So if more people can try, and there's some actually plant-based chocolate milkshake here, but we're trying to produce unbelievably high-quality plant-based products that taste delicious, but at the same time, going back to our purpose, they bring life in terms of they're really good for the planet and they help decarbonize.
So thank you so much. That's been really helpful to understand. We really love your product, and obviously you have expanded quite a lot in the past few years in a lot more supermarkets and also now in Europe. What's been the most interesting product category for you? You were talking about the sticks earlier and plant-based, and give us a bit more detail on that.
I think for me, plant-based is the most exciting.
Yeah.
But within that, we're launching into sticks, which is super exciting. We're talking about ice cream for dogs, which we now do.
Okay.
So if anyone has any dogs, we do ice cream for dogs.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's super good. You've got to try it. You've got to try it. It tastes good.
I think I'll take your word for that one.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's flying off the shelf.
Okay, cool. Dogs actually like ice cream.
They love it.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So, final question. Which Jude's flavour should I add to my Christmas dessert bar?
I think if you can find it, brandy butter.
Oh.
You should probably do that.
Okay.
But if not, try our plant-based vanilla.
Okay, I will. So you know where to find Jude's in your local supermarket. And thank you so much, James, for being here with us this evening.